Yo, what is going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we are back with another Veve and Ecomi video, man. And this one, we're going to be checking out some more fire information here. Shout out to K once again, man. Great interview, a lot of great questions asked. And this one, we're going to be really going over some interesting points that Rhys just made. And he's basically going to be talking about how the focus and why, and he's going to talk a little bit about Omi. We're going to get some updates on Omi, and he's going to be talking about the driving, a lot of the driving factors that's going to make Omi successful. So try to stick with it, try to hear him out so you can really understand, especially if you're still kind of confused or on the fence about how Omi is going to move and how like just listen a little bit to this here. So yeah, let's check it out.
If people can understand it, it's much easier to convince them to make a purchase, right? Or you don't have to convince them to make a purchase because it's something that they want to invest in or acquire.
That by itself, it's a lot. That is deep. That's a deep statement in itself. Veve being something that you don't have to convince people to join and be a part of, and the fact that they're going to be adding in token utility and things like that to where you can use Veve and it's going to really benefit Omi holders. That by itself, like you don't have, like Bitcoin had to be sold for over a decade. You have to tell people, oh, Bitcoin is the future. Bitcoin, you do this, the blockchain, this, that. Like you don't have to do that with Veve. You hold up your Veve app, you see Marvel, the logo, and a bunch of Marvel collectibles, and it speaks for itself. All you do is show somebody that you know, like show a loved one you know, something that you already know that they enjoy on Veve. Sells itself. As opposed to crypto. And this is why Omi has the potential to be one of the biggest cryptos in the world. But it does come down to the type of token utility that they have and things like that. But let's keep listening.
And once they have, as soon as you're financially invested in something, like you build in that emotional attachment to it as well.
Yeah.
Right. And then everybody is incentivized, as you've probably learned, to go and share it with the rest of the world, because the more people that are in this, the better it is for everybody. The better, the more the market spreads out, the more that fair value gets decided, the more demand there is for the product and the collectibles. And, from a business point of view, the bigger that network grows, the more licenses want to come on board, so it's that really positive feedback loop. But it stems with the product and it stems from that upper tier quality and experience from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's definitely that's really, really good to hear.
And Rhys been talking in this, like it's been a few moments, like it wasn't big enough moments for me to cover it, but really he's talked about how Veve really does not have competitors or anyone even in sight right now, mainly because of what they're doing and the things that they're offering and things like that. And obviously you're starting off with Alcon and David Yu, like it's going to be very hard for anybody to compete with that coming out of the gate. Down the line, yeah, I mean, companies may be able to try and catch up, but as it stands right now, the companies are years behind actually competing with Veve. Some might have the same brands and some may have NFTs, but all NFTs is not the same, which is why these companies are even allowed to do the same things as Veve as far as having the same brands. It's like you can't control what IP some other company has. You can control, like with these deals, they are controlling the type of asset that they are allowed to make, though. Well, as long as they're making sure people can't directly compete with Veve, from my understanding.
Obviously there are people who haven't actually read the updated blog on Ecomi with the Omi token utility, and I made this point earlier that multiple times actually you can't accurately model the burn rate of Omi because there's just going to be more utility baked in over time. For example, the initial kind of models of burn rate were only focusing on like primary market sales, and then we got the 2.5% from secondary market, and then people had to kind of redo their models and say, okay, now this is how it's going to look like. So in terms of Omi to gems, is that officially off the books? Is that going to be replaced with Omi to NFT?
Correct. Yeah. That's replaced with Omi to NFT, and you can cash in and out of gems separately. So we run two concurrent systems.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, once we have an MTL on board and whenever that can take place, people will still be able to go fiat to Omi, or technically it's fiat to NFT, but it will facilitate another type of Omi purchase.
Oh, like under the hood.
Yeah. So, but we'll cross that down the line. So development of that is actually in being able to cash in and out of gems is underway as well. Again, hopefully we see that by the end of next month, because that can now take place before we fully migrate to immutable, because it's not using the token, right? And we don't need to kind of balance the books between each one. So yeah, as soon as that opens, we really open the economy of the app, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. And I know people are screaming about the Omi to gem thing still, because like you said, they haven't read anything.
Yeah.
But I think as soon as that's enabled, then that complaint disappears, because it gives people a way to extract value. Now, you and I both know the community has figured out how to do that anyway.
Yeah.
There's obviously services you can use to sell your gems, which I'll take a moment to say we don't support. If you do it on your own. But once we open that economy, and once we migrate to immutable and we can build in the Omi to NFT utility, then it really creates that velocity of money for the token, right? There's a need for it, there's a demand for it, there's a use for it. That's when we really start to see this play out properly. And look, that goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? Like, you launch a product, you have all these plans in place. Like, Omi to Gem was available for the first couple of months until everything broke. And then with so many users and the system rebalancing, it just wasn't a viable option anymore. So the same as building in new, we re-engineered the app. We had to re-engineer the model to really accommodate that growing user base, and still cater to the mainstream and the crypto side, right? That's really important for us to be able to do. It's one of our key value propositions. So being able to open both of those avenues and then introduce people to the token as we go, I just think it's the best system for everybody.
That's fantastic. So yeah, we can definitely look forward to kind of, I guess over time, more Omi utility getting baked into the ecosystem. And then with that, kind of like a better, more pressure on the burn for Omi as well, which kind of people are always asking about.
Absolutely. More pressure on the burn. Obviously as the user base grows and the products sell more money for the buybacks. But then we bring in staking, right? And people always want to know about staking because they want it right now. There's so many different ways we can do that, right? And we'll do it, right? Obviously, I guess at the base level, say you hold 1 million Omi for 30 days or something, then you get XP points, or I know you've brought this up before, maybe even a gold gem to be able to spend in store or against a certain drop, something like that. Maybe we get to a point where there's a drop coming up, because we will get to a point where you'll know more than 2 days out what's dropping. You really want to participate in that drop, but your collector level isn't there yet, right? Like, because some drops might be like level 5 and above or something. So maybe you can then choose to burn 1 million Omi tokens to be able to get into that drop, or you can stake it ahead of time, specifically for it, right? Like, so there's a lot of options there.
That's actually a very good idea, actually. If you have Omi, because a lot of people do kind of hold Omi, but they just like don't know what to do with it. If you could actually, because that's essentially in a way like paying for entry into that drop, because you've paid for the Omi. So if you kind of sacrifice it, burn it, remove it from circulation, you could then get into the drop. And I see a lot of people who, if it's a collectible they want, they would happily burn 1 million Omi.
This is huge. This is massive. Do you hear this? Do you see this? Like this is absolutely huge. This is the type of ideas they're thinking about to really bring value to the Omi token and bring more scarcity to it. So having drops like this regularly or frequently, some consistent type of frequency, this is going to be massive. This is going to be massive for the community, man. Listen to like all the token holders. These are the type of ideas you don't just pull out of your ass, because I have not heard this suggested by anyone. I haven't heard anyone suggest it. So these are the conversations that they're having behind closed doors. So even though they're only focusing on Veve in the public eye, they're clearly talking about the token. Listen to these ideas, bro. Listen to the quality of it.
Happy burn, like if you're Ray Fixie, you happily burn 100 million Omi.
Exactly right. And if that's what it takes to get you access to something that you really love or that you believe will have value, people will do it. Even if it's, if we don't go that far, but you do have the opportunity to stake it for X amount of days to gain access
Yeah.
Every single piece of that puzzle is reducing the circulating supply of the token.
Yeah.
You know, and really, like if you're getting an ongoing reward for staking it, you know, every 30 days you get another gold gem or something like that, you're going to keep holding it out of circulation, right? It's benefiting the value of your token, or sorry, I should say the scarcity of your token.
Yeah.
And giving you rewards on the platform, which gives you access to an NFT that also has its own innate value. Like it's a really encompassing system, and you know, same as like we're really good at what we do, but no one has all this stuff figured out day one. You know, you go into it with a plan. Here's how we think it's going to work. Here's how here's the model we have at the moment. But business is so adaptive, and it has to be adaptive. You know, you can't just stick to those rigid walls, or you get overtaken by the competition. You know? So we will always continue to iterate, build in as many utilities and uses for the token. And then the Veveverse runs the same as the app, right? Like it will still be underpinned by the token. Any transactions there will use it, you know, like there's, the scope of the project just continues to expand. And
I mean, he just basically confirmed that the Veveverse is going to be a massive player in Omi burns, because he said every transaction in the Veveverse works the same way, which means that if they find a way to make the Veveverse somewhere that people play in around the clock all day, every day, the potential to burn Omi all day, every day is going to be there in the Veveverse. So that is interesting. Like it's,
and with that, so does the use of the token.
So that's fantastic.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy to acknowledge right now that, like, holding it now, and you need to understand where that's going to see the value in having the token now, right? Because you can't use it, right? And I guess that's where being an early adopter, you know, people that are early to these things stand to have the most benefit from them, right? If you're doing the research, you know where that's going. You know, people can see that we're delivering on the things that we say we're going to.
Exactly. Like, and make sure you understand that they are delivering on the things that they say they're going to, even if it gets pushed back a little bit, and even if like the 12 out of 10 announcement, you see it came and people are not disappointed. Even if it gets pushed back, when it comes, it still hits, and they do what they say they're going to do, even if they don't do it when they say they're going to do it, because these things change, and that's just business. And a lot of us YouTubers have been trying to explain that to people who aren't really in the business world, maybe your first time investing or something. But yeah, this is how business goes, and they're giving us an inside look and inside information when it comes down to how the business works. They share things with the community that's going on with the business the day they're talking about. Like David was hinting at things where he was talking about, oh, I'm waiting on a phone call right now. Like he's still in conversation about it, hinting at it to the community. And that's a CEO for you, man. Like somebody who's not just off and distant. He tries to include the community, but then the community gives him backlash. And it's like, you kind of making you regret it as a CEO. But the transparency is amazing with this company.
So yeah, that's certainly enough for me to hold on to my bags.
That's fantastic. Actually, this is a question that I was actually asked. So I've kind of spoken about it from my point of view, but it's obviously best if they hear it from you as well. So on the point of staking now, I was kind of saying, hey, you know, if you stake Omi, suggested that you could, you know, participate in certain drops, get like, you know, kind of a special collectibles, you know, so something that's like an in-app reward. And you do get people who say, you know, I don't really care too much about the in-app rewards. I, you know, like the other types of staking where you get more tokens. Is that something that is going to be, so at the moment, from the way I understand it is, people can stake their tokens on certain exchanges as they provide liquidity to that exchange, and then they get a percent back after a certain lockup period. So Binance, for example, they do staking for loads of coins. So is this something that, you know, staking Omi for Omi, is this something that could be facilitated by Veve, or is it more for exchanges?
Yeah, I think at least in the near term, anything like that would be facilitated by the exchange and on their terms. Dan has mentioned this before, but any sort of financial incentive or reward we give out like that in the form of a token could move the definition of our token from utility to security.
Compliance.
Right, and that's our number one. We have to make sure that we don't kind of irk into that area, not just because of securities law, like that's navigable, but securities law in crypto is still a very gray area, and you just, like you mentioned earlier, like the SEC or whoever will still come down on companies years later.
Yeah, they did that with Ripple, like, so many after Ripple became big and people were holding bags full of it. Then they came down on them. And I literally saw it go from like, wherever the high was to like 12 cents, which was like, less than 2017 levels. I was like, wow, like these people got hammered.
Yeah, that's it, right? And we want to build in as many reward mechanisms and incentive mechanisms as we can, but there's nothing worse that we can do than risking that sort of hot water, right? And that's not going to benefit anyone. So look, I think at the moment we're just going to, it's easier to say blanket, that's not what our staking is designed to do. Now staking, like we just said, staking in general reduces the circulating supply, which is good for everybody, but it's never been the intention to allow you to earn Omi tokens from that. Maybe there's, I was talking to Adam Moore, who most people will know in the community, a couple of days ago. He has some great ideas, but maybe in the market, like part of that fee, if you took 1% of the seller's fee and distributed that amongst stakers somehow.
Oh, that could work, yeah.
If it's peer-to-peer, like maybe there's some room to move there.
Because I've read that it won't count as a security if the investment you have, if you get a return on it by doing some form of work, which is the whole concept of POS staking. You're doing some kind of work. So by that definition, it's not considered a security. It's only if you hold it and do nothing and then you get tokens, that would make it a security. Right.
That's the distinction. So, look, for now, I'm just going to say that it's more rewards on the app. But obviously, if same as anything, if that becomes available to us and in a real way, like we're going to try and integrate it. It's like I think people forget that we all have tokens too.
I know. Like, you guys have a development fund, which is Omi, so it benefits you for Omi to be valued higher. So you got more money to buy licenses with.
Yeah, exactly, and develop the ecosystem, and so we're going to keep doing what we can for that to that end. So we'll see where that evolves. I think a lot of people gave Trevor some really good ideas too. When he opened it up, and like I've said in a couple of AMAs, like there's no other product or company that, like, you don't get real-time feedback like we do in this space. We have you guys always giving us the feedback from the community and ideas, and the community can interact with us directly. It's really amazing to be able to take that on and shape a product based on it, because that's what we're building it for. Like, we think it's cool, but like we want you guys to enjoy it.
And I don't know how many of you all are in the gaming industry, because this is big. This is big right here. It seems like every game, it's like a I don't know, a rite of passage. I feel like you made it when you screw up your game. Like, that's what it seems like. Call of Duty was on top. They were killing it. Then they lost track of what their game was. They tried to make it Battlefield. They tried to make it all these other things instead of making it Call of Duty. And then Call of Duty stopped being fun. Fortnite started losing connection with what made it successful. It's like companies go down by losing connection with what makes it interesting to begin with. Because Veve is constantly listening to the community, talking to the community, and boots on the ground, understanding they're one of the community, I don't see that problem happening with their product. So,
it's it's a really cool way to build a product too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this from literally day one, like, because I've been in the crypto space for about 5 years now, and I've never ever been in a project where the team, the co-founders, everyone, they like engage with the community so much. Every week there's like, every week there's something new. Not even every week, I would say pretty much every day there's something new, something to talk about, which is probably why it's helped my YouTube channel so much. It's so cool just seeing this, not just speculation, but things happening, in front of our eyes. There's a Marvel logo behind you. because it's happened. You know, you guys have made it
Yeah.
happen, and I think that was just a huge proof of concept as well, because before we had the Marvel announcement, it was just you know, a consistent downtrend, people just fudding Omi, Ecomi, Veve, saying, you know, these guys, they don't have all of this stuff. And then, you know, what's interesting is, since that day you guys announced Marvel, so there's this guy who's quite well known in the community called David Rosen, and
He
he always
been
calls
gone.
Ecomi e-scammy, like in every video. So I just fudge Ecomi all the time. Since the Marvel drop, I have not seen him. So
Ah,
he's done something.
How interesting. I did see a David Rosen comment yesterday. I was like, who is this clown? Yeah, I mean,
known.
I haven't seen him myself, yo. I don't know where he hiding at. I don't know where he be at, but yo, this is pretty much it for the video, y'all. As you can see, very, very big news. If this don't get you excited, I don't know what will, man. Their work has been showing this whole time, but I think it's finally getting to a point where non-business people can actually really understand fully and see it. Like, if you're a consumer, it's getting obvious at this point. It's getting to the point where it's very, very obvious. And honestly, like, this is not financial advice, but my way of investing, the way that I look at investments is, when people 100% will get it, any idiot can 100% get it, the investment is probably too late to make that investment. So that being said, I'm gonna try to load up my bag as much as possible in the short term, y'all. Then I'm gonna just chill. I'm gonna just stake and, you know, like, wait for that to come out. And yeah, man. But the proof is starting to just show. It's starting to be too much proof. Veve is really becoming undeniable, and people are starting to understand how Veve is going to impact the token, which then is going to make the token undeniable, especially once we get on exchanges and things like that. Omi is going to be undeniable, and Veve will be undeniable. And at that point, it's going to be kind of late. So keep that in mind when you're investing. Strategize around how smart the community is getting, because they shut down a lot of haters with these last few days. But yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace out, y'all.